Resilience is the ability of a living being to adapt to adverse situations. Fall 7 times, some might say, but get up 8. As time goes by, I wonder, how did a woman from the end of the world leave her country? She looked for new opportunities and managed to succeed in the biggest sports entertainment company? Her father doubted if he wanted that future for her, while her mother was completely against it. Stephanie Vaquer worked, studied, and saved up to go to Aztec lands and start from scratch with an adventure that would change her life.
It has been a huge sacrifice for many years.
I started wondering what I lacked to become a complete wrestler. And World Wrestling Entertainment has that.
11.
So we must take away...
Oops, I forgot they told me not to do that here.
He said it.
I'm the first South American woman to wrestle in Japan, Mexico, and the United States.
She lives outside of Chile, but now she's on our show. How are you, Stephanie?
To learn the full story of Stephanie Vaquer, it's important that we start from the beginning. San Fernando is a commune and city in the central region of Chile, located in the Libertador General Bernardo O'Higgins region, just an hour away from the country's capital, Santiago. It was this city where Stephanie Vaquer was born on March 29, 1993. However, Stephanie Vaquer's journey would be much longer and quite nomadic. Fate led her to live in different cities such as Calama, Puerto Montt, Chiloé, as well as in the port city of San Antonio, where she would graduate from the Pacific South Maritime Commercial Institute in the year 2010. In Chile, the passion for American wrestling began in the late 1990s. And along with them, local companies try to make a comeback to earn a place in the local scene. In 2001, Informe a special on Chilean national television named San Antonio among the top cities for wrestling training. But a Chilean wrestler couldn't make it to World Wrestling Entertainment. At the same time, this program visited well-known wrestling schools in California, United States. And according to the statistics, those schools recorded that 100% of the men and women training in wrestling dreamed of making it to World Wrestling Entertainment. But in the United States, only 1% managed to make it into the biggest company in the world. With these statistics and records, who would think that someone from San Antonio could make it to the top of World Wrestling Entertainment? Stephanie Vaquer found World Wrestling Entertainment when it was still on the Chilevisión channel. Her passion grew as the years went by. At 15, she joined an independent wrestling school in San Antonio. She wanted to try it. She wanted to challenge the world at an age when we all really have a true inner revolution. Stephanie Vaquer felt she could do it. She made her non-professional debut in Chile in February 2009. Her initial matches took place in August of 2010 at small independent events in Chile, where she performed under the name Dark Angel. After almost 4 years training wrestling in San Antonio, she began to notice certain attitudes from her wrestling coach that made her doubt and feel that it would be too difficult for her to succeed in that place. She seriously questioned whether they were really teaching her well at that wrestling school. She felt that her coach was not truly professional. And what's more, who defines someone as a professional wrestling coach in a country where wrestling isn't that professionalized? That's how she began a new search to find a place where she could be taught wrestling in a much more professional way. The destination is Mexico. While studying in Chile, she earned a scholarship for academic excellence. At the same time, she started working to save every peso with which she would buy her plane tickets to try her luck in Aztec lands. Her father hoped that she would continue studying and that this idea of wrestling would fade away as time went by. Her mother was completely against it. Her idea was to go for just 6 months to see how the wrestling circuit worked and then return to Chile to continue her studies. What Estefani didn't know at that moment was that the trip would turn into an 11-year stay. She had the help of many Chilean wrestlers who had already been in Mexico who helped guide her regarding places to stay and where to go. Estefani arrived in Veracruz, and there she received all the training and masterclass from Professor Ferrari, a legend of Veracruz wrestling, a tough wrestler whose career was honored in April of 2025 for his great career and for being an iconic figure in the circuit where other wrestlers learned and stood out.
Look, I have female students who honestly are my pride.
Stephanie Vaquer, Chilean La Jarochita.
And the truth is they came from the arena where I am, and from there they came.
They came from there? So, you saw them training there, and now they're in Japan?
When she entered the wrestling school in Veracruz, she already had a back pain that she had been carrying with her for a long time. All of that was part of the bad training she had received in Chile for several years. At just 19 years old, Stephanie Vaquer was one step away from developing a condition in her back. She gradually made her way in Veracruz. Ricky Marvin would also become her wrestling coach. She progressed so much in such a short time that it led her to realize on her own that everything she had learned in Chile was wrong. She admitted that when she got to Mexico, she had to start over. Her 4 years of training in San Antonio were useless there. She debuted in Mexico at a Chilanga Mask event on December 22, 2023, where Heroina defeated her. After Veracruz, she would go to the capital, Mexico City. There, one of the toughest periods for Stephanie Vaquer would begin. The little money she had and her desire to keep wrestling were not enough financially for her to rent an apartment. During a tour in Merida, Vaquer suffered a triple nose fracture that forced her to leave wrestling for 2 years. During that time, unable to wrestle, she got a job as a waitress in a restaurant. She talked to her boss and asked him to please let her sleep in the kitchen. Her boss agreed, and that's how her sleeping place didn't even meet the basic conditions for rest. She didn't sleep on a mattress, she slept on 2 gym mats, and she stayed in that place for 6 months. In mid-2018, Vaquer would leave for Japan, where he made his debut fighting in 5 matches for the women's promotion. World Wonder Ring stardom from July to August of that same year.
For example, when I first arrived in Japan, I used to go to Japan for long periods and lived there for 3 months, then came back and went again. So the language in Japan is obviously very different. The customs, the culture of Japan, which I love, but it's totally different. I had to adapt. I had to learn the language. I had to adapt to the Japanese wrestling style, which is totally different from the Mexican one.
In that same year, 2018, the Chilean wrestling industry came to a halt. Because the first national representative would arrive in World Wrestling Entertainment.
My name is Tara and I'm from Santiago, Chile. I'm the first Chilean female wrestler to fight and make it to World Wrestling Entertainment. This is a milestone for my career and the history of Chilean wrestling.
On August 3rd, 2018, it was confirmed that Chilean wrestler Zatara would join the second World Wrestling Entertainment Mae Young Classic tournament. On August 8th, during the first round of the tournament, unfortunately, Zatara would be eliminated in the first match against Tegan Knox, but this brief appearance by Zatara would make World Wrestling Entertainment interested in Chile. That's how they held a tryout in Santiago, Chile, from December 3rd to 5th.
Hello everyone, I'm Quetzali Bulnes, and this is World Wrestling Entertainment Now, Special Edition Latin American Tryouts 2018 from Santiago, Chile.
Vaquer, upon hearing about this, flew in from Japan to be present at this tough official World Wrestling Entertainment training. Unfortunately, that would be unsuccessful for her. On August 9th, 2019, Vaquer returned to Aztec lands and began wrestling in the Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre in Mexico, becoming the first South American female wrestler in that organization. Here, Vaquer began the most successful phase of her career so far. She wrestled top female competitors in the Consejo Mundial. At that time, she was also wrestling in other promotions like New Japan Pro Wrestling. On September 29, 2023, at the Noche de Campeones event, Vaquer defeated her fellow Chilean, La Catalina, to win the vacant Consejo Mundial Women's World Championship. On March 10, 2024, Vaquer wrestled on Night 2 of the 2024 Cinderella Tournament organized by New Japan's sister promotion, World Wonder Ring Stardom, defeating Julia to capture the Strong Women's Championship, becoming a triple champion across Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre and New Japan Pro Wrestling. On June 30 of the same year, she would appear in the American company All Elite Wrestling, specifically at the Forbidden Door event, where she would lose the Strong Women's title to Mercedes Moné, thus ending her 112-day reign as champion. On July 10, it was revealed that Vaquer was leaving Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre after 5 years with the company due to personal reasons. And both the Women's World Championship and the World Tag Team Championship were left vacant in the process. They say everything happens for a reason. On July 10th, 2024, the Senior Vice President of Talent Development Creative at World Wrestling Entertainment, Shawn Michaels, announced that Vaquer had officially signed with the company. And she was assigned to the NXT brand, making her the second Chilean woman and the third Chilean overall to sign with World Wrestling Entertainment.
All my dreams are to wrestle and win championships in Japan, Europe, Mexico, and the United States, and to learn different styles. I had already fulfilled that dream. So I was missing that extra thing, and I kept thinking, what if something... My dad's good advice. Not everything is about money. I began wondering what I lacked to become a complete fighter. And World Wrestling Entertainment has that? Did WWE call you? Yes, they called yesterday about doing business with you.
I can't believe it.
Our contract, the contract with the council had already ended, and with New Japan, we had a special contract. I clearly remember World Wrestling Entertainment called me, and I told them All Elite Wrestling was offering me more money. WWE said they couldn't match it. Thank you. Good luck in AEW. And at that moment, I cried like you can't imagine. And my dad told me, you're crying because it's so much money. But that's not it. He told me, okay, then now you know.
Of course, that crying gave you the answer.
Yes, and they called me on the phone. I answered totally normal because I had already said that I would make my decision the next day. And it was Shomai. And Shomai said to me, Stephanie, I know you understand English. I want to talk to you personally. I'm Shomai. I have this proposal and this and this. And he asked me, is it about the money? And I said to him, it's not about the money. I said, it's my life. No, I sacrificed my whole life for wrestling. So it's not like if you give me 1 peso or 100 million and I'm not taking care of what I love so much. I swear to you, there's no amount of money that can pay me for that, but this sacrifice I've made, and Shomai Cole understands it, he understood it. And he told me some words that, honestly, I'm gonna keep to myself because I don't think I'll ever tell anyone in my life. They were words that really helped me make the best decision. Words from a wise person. From someone who understands when a person loves what they do. And that's when I made the decision.
Vaquer would make his in-ring debut in Mexico at a live, non-televised event. And for everyone on the October 15th, 2024 episode of NXT defeating Ren Sinclair. Already moving into 2025, Stephanie competed at the New Year's Evil event on January 7 week. Vaquer won a fatal 4-way match to become the #1 contender for the NXT Women's North American Championship. On February 1, I was lucky to be in Indianapolis to see her debut at the Royal Rumble. Vaquer would enter at number 24 but would be eliminated by Nia Jax. Up until that moment, it didn't matter what had happened during the match. Baker was making history, and Chileans and Latinos knew it. But February 15th would come, and at the NXT Vengeance Day event, Baker would defeat Fallon Henley to win the NXT Women's North American Championship, marking her first championship victory in World Wrestling Entertainment, and becoming the first Chilean and South American woman to win a championship in this company. Julia, who was the NXT Women's Champion at that time, challenged her to a match where both would put their titles on the line for the Road Logg event. Vaquer would accept, and that's how, on March 11th, Vaquer defeated Julia to win the NXT Women's Championship, becoming the first double women's champion in the history of the brand. She would defend both titles, sometimes on the same night. Vaquer couldn't continue like this anymore and decided to relinquish the NXT North American Women's Championship, ending her 45-day reign. Vaquer made her first appearance on Raw after WrestleMania 41, facing the Women's World Champion Io Sky in a match that ended with no result, after interference from Julia and Roxanne Perez. Later on, Jessie Jane would take the NXT Women's title from her. But as we say again, everything happens for a reason. And Vaquer losing her NXT title meant she was ready to make her jump to the main roster. On May 30, 2025, the Raw general manager Adam Pearce announced that Vaquer had joined the brand. By this point, Vaquer already had a lot of history. She had broken several records and started to have an important place within the women's division. She competed in the Money in the Bank ladder match and Worlds Collide. At the Evolution event, she would win the Women's Battle Royal, which would secure her a spot for a title opportunity. Stephanie McMahon would personally congratulate her in front of the whole arena. Her match was originally supposed to be at the Clash event in Paris, but it was cancelled. Naomi vacated her title, and Vaquer needed to have her match as soon as possible. That's how World Wrestling Entertainment scheduled the match between Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky at the WrestlePalooza event. The vacant women's title would have a new owner that night, and it would be in the city of Indianapolis, the same city where she made her debut at the Royal Rumble. What amazing coincidences life brings. Chile, her homeland, was celebrating its national holidays, marking 215 years of independence. And Vaquer made his entrance into the arena with a crowd that was on his side. With that phenomenal move, Vaquer would defeat Io Sky to win the vacant title. Thus, she became the first Chilean and South American woman to win a WWE World Championship. Stephanie, the girl who watched World Wrestling Entertainment just like any of us, the one who dared to sign up for a wrestling school. The same person, feeling dissatisfied, chose to leave everything and travel to a country she didn't know. Far from her family, from her homeland, without any help from anyone. The one who slept on 2 gym mats in the kitchen of a restaurant, the same one who chased her dreams so many times. An entire arena celebrated her, because she was being crowned as the top female champion of the biggest and most prestigious company in the world of wrestling. Her father, that life companion who hesitated to let his little girl chase her dreams out of fear that things wouldn't go well for her. He was there to see her, to hug her, and to tell her how proud he was of her. This story of Stephanie Baker is just beginning. This story of Stephanie Baker will continue.
from San Fernando, Chile to the world.